This is Romo Dunze, and you're listening to the Ballsville Podcast.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Welcome in, Ballsville gamers, to another episode of the Ballsville Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Fitzgerald. You can find me at Run the Hurry Up on Sleeper. And this episode is brought to you by theballsvillegame.com. Our games combine fantasy football and poker, which create big payouts with great odds. Welcome on in, gamers. We have a big show for you today. I want to welcome in my panel. He is Bill's Mafia. He goes by Trader Clem on Sleeper. He is my co-host. What is up, Sean?
What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Oh, Fran says she can't hear me. Am I muted?
No, you are not muted. You should be able to be heard. I am not sure why she would say that, but maybe it's technical difficulties on Fran's end?
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
I will move on.
Good.
Okay. So, yeah, Big Hero Kevin says I'm good.
See,
And
that's why he's Big Hero Kevin.
Exactly. And welcoming in my big brother from Florida. He goes by Jimbo's Bimbos on Sleeper. What is up, Jimmy?
Not too much, just enjoying the Florida sun. Had a great holiday weekend. It was all safe and lots of water and boating.
Yeah, Jimmy sent me some pictures about him out in the water. I was super jealous. How was your holiday, Sean? What'd you do besides just manicuring your hair?
I really didn't do anything, to be honest with you. I was so engulfed in everything else going on that I didn't even realize it was a holiday until the middle of Monday.
Oh, I see.
Sorry to all those veterans out there. I definitely do appreciate everything, but it was just too much going on my end. So
yes, we do appreciate all you veterans on there that tune into the Ballsville Podcast. Really appreciate all your support. Give a shout out to some of the guys in chat that popped in. We got D-Gen Ethan has popped in. Chris, sorry for cussing, has popped in. We got good old Cyborg popping in. We got Short Stack, El Presidente Alejandro Hernandez, Big Hero Kevin, Fran. Welcome in, Fran. Who else we got in? That's what we got in so far. So we're gonna go over where we're at in Ballsville right now with all our games. We're also gonna get into some triathlon ADP. We have some leagues that have finished. Sean put together the ADP, so that'd be pretty interesting to pick through. Talk a little bit about NFL news. Nothing really too crazy going on. And then we actually have a live trade offer online on the pod today between two panelists. And we are going to let you, the people in chat, give us the thumbs up, a yay, or thumbs down for a nay. So you guys are going to decide if this trade goes through, or maybe if it needs a little bit of tweaking. We're the ones that always analyze your trades and pick through all your guys' trades. So today, you're going to pick through ours. So whatever you guys say, we have to do it. So obviously, unless it's super outrageous, we're not doing it. But this, you're going to let us know about this trade, so it'll be pretty interesting. We don't know who I'm not going to let you know who it's.
No, I think no matter what the parameters are, Scott, you should have to accept this trade. If the
I'm willing to do
the
it
audience decides that it is acceptable, you should have no choice.
No, if this trade that we're going to show what as is, if the people in chat say yes, that's a good trade, you should accept it. Then I have to accept it. Or if they say no, it's a bad trade, it's totally uneven, then we're not doing it.
This trade's been in negotiation for 3 weeks.
So
wait a second, a 3-week negotiation?
Yeah.
Man, dude, that is longer than any of our political parties can work together on.
I'm telling you.
That is amazing.
Exactly. So anyways, we will get into where we're at here. Ballsville's going crazy right now. The big game is going wild. We're already at Division 5, which is going to be launched over the weekend. So that's cruising along. Those leagues are filling up super fast. The triathlons, you guys that are in chat, I know some of you are in triathlons. We're already through the halfway point. We have the next 3 gods already up. They're getting filled as we speak. So we're really excited about that. Thank you so much for your guys' support with the triathlons. You guys are filling them up real good. And anyone that doesn't know yet, even though they're slow drafts, they're done in like 7 days. So 4-hour timers. They've run very smoothly. So really proud about that. Also, we've already launched one mini game. The first one we had was the mini game number 1, which was a draft predictor, and actually, DGen Ethan won that one. He won a big game package that was worth $28. So we want to congratulate Ethan for that, for that big win. Number 2 mini game is going to be called Horse Race. It's going to launch tomorrow on the website. So you'll have to go to the website, scroll to the bottom. There'll be an icon to click on it, and you can get to that game. Now, you guys that are in chat, if you want to get heads up and get in there early, go ahead and DM Alex Westlex on Sleeper, and he's going to send you guys right to the link, so you can get ahead of everybody else. So you guys in chat, go ahead and send Alex a DM at Westlex, and he'll get you in there.
Because there is an advantage. There is an advantage to who signs up first. That's the tiebreaker. So if it comes down to a tie, whoever is in the league first, signed up first, actually wins the tiebreaker. If you were ahead of a guy and you guys tied, if you were in the league first, your tiebreaker counts.
Yep.
So there's an advantage to getting in off the pod tonight.
Right, exactly. And then basically, any of you that are new, the horse race is the top 12 rushers after week or up to week 4. So it's right up to the bye. So it's 1 through 4, top 12 rushers. If you get them right, you get points. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel of what you get. If you go to the website, click on the link. When you get to it, all the directions, everything is in there. So should be pretty fun. I missed it last year, but I'm definitely getting in it this year. And then for the future, mini game number 3 will be Target Hogs. And this one's pretty interesting. So it's player team targets. So you're basically going to list the top 3 team targets. So for example, you take Denver, you pick Denver, you take all the team targets or all the players targets on that team. So RJ Harvey, Ingram, Sutton, so on. And then you add all those up. So your top 3 teams for targets. So that'll come later on in the year. So I want to give out, who am I missing here? Oh, Todd Barber's in the chat. I want to say something about Todd Barber. So Todd Barber, TB76, he is in along with Ethan and along with some others, but right off the top, Todd Barber's in every triathlon league. And he's in like immediately. Like right when we launch him, Todd's in him, pays for him, good to go. So I want to give a shout out to Todd. He's been with us a long time, and he's an awesome gamer, very good player. I hate seeing him in my drafts. So stay away, Todd Barber. I don't want to be in your drafts at all. So I want to give a shout out to him. So other than that, we have a really nice video we want to play before we get into some NFL talk and some triathlon ADP. This is our updated triathlon video. Alex works really hard on these videos. This thing kicks ass. Go ahead. You got it loaded up there, Sean?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sit back.
Sorry, was that the right one? Scotty, I think that's the wrong one.
Yeah, it is.
It's in the general chat.
Oh, I think I found it. Here we go. Our technological difficulties, I think, have been solved, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado.
Good to have you back.
like I said, it sounds like I wanted to go grab my glow sticks and just start like going to town. So that was really cool. Thanks a lot, Alex. That was a great promo. And yeah, I did leave somebody out, and I wanted to mention him. So sorry for cussing, Chris. He's in a lot of our triathlon leagues also. But the thing about Chris, which separates him from a lot of people, is he is our like triathlon police. So he goes and polices the leagues, and any mistakes that we make or any kind of like wording that we mess up, he definitely lets us know. So I want to thank Chris for that.
Proofreader. He's our proofreader.
Yeah, our proofreader. So we have a lot going on here in Ballsville. We're just, like I said, a bunch of amateurs. Sometimes we'll miss things, and so it's nice to have somebody
play the wrong promo video.
Yeah, and he says, "Is it annoying? I can stop it." No, it's not annoying.
No, we need it. Trust me.
No,
I mean, you legit helped us out with like a glaring hole in the triathlon that had we not figured it out now, could have been a big problem. So thanks to your help.
We actually took an over-under that day and decided whether anybody'd catch it or not, and he did.
Yeah, we actually
we were talking about it in the prep.
Yeah, it was funny. So no, we appreciate it. Like I said, you guys as the community, we consider you guys all friends, and we're all in this together. So we just want to make it a fun place to play, and it's nice to have people like super involved with everything. So yeah, we like the interaction with you guys to make things better, and even like our triathlon game now, when it plays out at the end of the year, we're going to ask you guys again, what did you like about it? Was there anything you want different? I know some people were talking about possibly, they weren't sure about the league median. They weren't sure about, this, they weren't sure about that. So we'll let it play out. And at the end of the year, we'll pick your guys' brain, and you let us know how we can improve our brand and improve our games. So we can bring more people in and experience our games. So yeah, you guys, we always look for, any kind of advice, good or bad. It really helps us out a lot. So thank you very much for that. So any NFL news that we got, Jimmy, what's going on down there in Tampa?
Well, the local underground sports heads in town that actually go to the OTAs, and these guys, they're not real big podcast guys. They're not big, media guys that are on national TV or radio, but they're pretty well respected around sports, predominantly hockey and football, a little bit of Rays stuff. But the talk is that Godwin is not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. And primarily that's why they used their number one pick. Everybody thought they were going to go defense because Tampa was struggling so bad on defense. And when they went, first round wide receiver, some of that's starting to surface and kind of go public. And they've been picking apart Bulls news conferences and little side talk here and there that Godwin's not going to be ready to go. So that's why they went with Mbuka in round one.
So Mbuka, you got McMillan. There's another receiver in New England.
Evans. We got Evans.
Yeah, there's another another receiver in New England. And Sean, he was having a fun Memorial Day weekend, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. Mr. Stephon Diggs, digging himself a nice hole to get out of. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, he's another one that's not supposed to be ready till like week 4, they're saying, but it may be longer. So
I don't know if you saw his yacht video, but I mean, the man is playing yacht, working hard to get back on the field. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
I was thinking I was going to see Antonio Brown in there after a minute.
I thought we did, didn't we?
Exactly. So
I actually met Antonio Brown at a gas station.
Right. I love how they're all like, an unknown substance in a sandwich baggie. Like, come on, man. Everybody saw that pink coat.
Yeah. So I actually saw a video today with the receivers, and their first draft pick, Williams, is creating separation. He's moving up the draft or moving up the depth chart. And there was one particular video I saw. So they had Jalen Polk and they had Javon Baker lined up in catching drills. and both of them like right away dropped their passes. So not sure about those guys, but Williams looks like he could be a sneaky guy to pick up even in redraft towards the end of the draft. So we don't really know who's going to emerge there. Diggs is already having issues.
Why is everybody overlooking Douglas? I think that Douglas has still got a key role in that offense and could be a very valuable piece in fantasy.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, no one's really separated themselves at all. So I mean, it's wide open. So yeah, Douglas, yeah, he's a guy you could he should obviously should be rostered. And Williams should be rostered. Whether what you want to do with Polk and what you want to do with Diggs. I mean, I'm staying away.
Gun to your head, Scott. Who's the number one receiver? Like, you have to take a New England wide receiver in your draft right now, no matter what. Who are you taking?
You know what? I'm going to take the unknown. I'm going to take Kyle Williams.
Really?
Okay, Bo, same.
I'm going to take Kyle Williams. Yeah, because I just think that like I said, his separation's been good. His draft capital is good. The other two guys haven't shown nothing. Diggs. You know what Diggs is. I mean, who knows? He could his head could blow up on the sideline, and then he's not. He doesn't want to play anymore. So, you still got Hunter Henry there, but yeah, I think Williams is and they even have Booty there, but Booty's not really doing nothing. So
we're talking about moving Bourne too. So
yeah, I'll just take the unknown. I'll just take Kyle Williams. Why not? What about you, Jimmy?
It's so up in the air because those receivers they got are small guys. It's just a tough one. I really had big expectations for Polk last year, and it just never matured. And Baker, he played over here at UCF. He just didn't turn into anything either. So I really don't know where they're headed. They've been trying to fill that gap, and they went after Godwin out of Tampa, and he decided to stay here. So, I don't know. That's a tough one. I think Douglas. It's going to be Douglas again, probably in my book, I guess. Until you see what Williams can do, I think Williams is probably more talented than Douglas by far.
You like Doug, and obviously you like Douglas, Sean.
I think I'm definitely leaning Douglas just because I think his offensive position is kind of settled in. He might not end up being the number one. I most likely won't ever end up being the number one, but he's not going to be worse than their number three, right? So I think that the way that their offense is set up right now. I don't think I'm taking any of them high enough to where I wouldn't rather just take Douglas because it's a high floor, low ceiling, as opposed to waiting another 2 rounds and then taking Kyle. Because I just don't think that Kyle's worth taking early enough. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. Kyle is too early, whereas I can get Douglas a few rounds later. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think Vrabel's going to run the ball more than what they have been too in the past. I think you're going to see more run game too.
Yeah, and there's been some quarterback news. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not talking about Aaron. I mean, he's a prima donna. He's trash. I'm not talking about that guy anymore. We'll talk about Shadir Sanders. He's looked really good in training camp. Very accurate. The news is out that possibly Kenny Pickett might win that job coming out of training camp. And then there's reports that there could be like a 2 or 3 person rotation in that offense. So I don't know what Cleveland's doing. But the news out of there, Sanders looks really good, really accurate. So we'll see what happens there.
Cousins didn't show up for OTAs today either.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of guys that aren't showing up because whether or not, and we'll go over to I want to go over to Sean real quick in Buffalo. I know Cook is set out. He wants a new contract. Yeah. Is he deserving of a new contract? I think he is. I mean, but Sean, what do you think?
Oh, I mean, of course he's deserving of a new contract. I just don't. I mean, I hate to say it because I know the running backs have been kind of emerging lately. I just don't see the value in paying a guy to be that role on that offense when you have Josh Allen on that offense already. It's, Ray Davis on a rookie contract, I think could bring close to what James Cook is bringing to the table. So if you add a decent complement to a Ray Davis, you can pay half as much for a committee setup, I think you're going to be just as good. I just don't think there's any need for them to pay Cook and then hamstring themselves in other areas that they could use that money.
I think he doesn't have, it's not like a big money salary that you can.
He wants like over 15 mil a year.
Right. But what I'm saying is it's not like he is a quarterback or a defensive end that can afford to sit out. I don't see on a running back salary how he's going to pay continual fines is what I'm getting at.
Oh no, he's going to play. This is voluntary OTAs.
Him holding out very long.
Yeah, I don't think he's holding out at all. This is still voluntary, so he has no reason to be there one way or the other. So, I don't think he's going to hold out. I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to work hard, and he's going to try to earn that contract next year, no matter what. So,
right.
I'm not worried about him as far as this season is concerned. I think as far as paying him, though, I just don't think it's in the cards that Buffalo is a team that pays him. Unfortunately, as much as I like him, I just don't think it could happen.
Has he still got one more year on his rookie deal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then he'll be free agent next year, and they're not going to tag him.
Yeah,
so I think that he'll get his big contract. It'll probably just be next year by a team that wants to take him and pay him. Yeah, I just don't think Buffalo will have it in them. I think they got Ray Davis. I think they like what they saw out of him. They like what they see in Ty Johnson, and they feel like there's a potential that those two could bring as much to the table as a committee, enough to where they're not going to take a step back on their offense, and that money can be better utilized in other areas.
I mean, let's face it, Cook really didn't do anything until last year anyway. It's not like he was great out of the box. He didn't have big stats. I
like Cook a lot. Don't get me wrong. I don't
like
want to come off his bashing on the guy. I think he's great.
Prior to last year, he wasn't eye-popping,
Yeah, he's a great back, or he's a good back behind a great line right now, I think. He showed that he's really capable, and he's in the right situation. Like, that man could be a super stud in the league easily. He just needs the right situation. I don't think he's the kind of guy who's going to AP your offense and turn your offense completely around because you signed James Cook.
I'd like to see him throw the ball to him more than what they do. I think he's
a lot. That's the thing to remember is that the guy has an issue with drops.
Yeah.
So, that's a problem that didn't really rear too much this year, but it did over the few years prior, I should say. And, that's a thing that a lot of Bills fans know well with James Cook is that, we love him and he's a great player, but there are certain times where he makes the worst play at the worst time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know too much about when you come in the NFL as a running back, are you locked into a 4-year contract? I mean, if I'm an agent and running backs lifespan is not very long. And most teams don't want to pay running backs when they hit 25, 26 years old. So if I'm an agent for a rookie coming in, I'm saying, look, I'm going to tell my guy, look, we're going to get this team to sign us for, 3 years and not 4 years. That way.
I like the idea of each position has a different round or a different amount of years attached to it as opposed to the round. You could still have the rounds incorporate, but make the positions also a thing. Like if you draft a running back in the first round, he gets a 3-year contract instead of a 4 or instead of a 5, things like that. Because like you said, Scott, each position's lifespan is different. So when you talk about a rookie contract, it should be positional based as well as round based to make it fair.
Yeah, because these guys, when their 4 years are up, they're already 25 years old. And they're
from an ownership standpoint, though, do you agree that these guys that sign their contracts should be up for a contract extension before their contract even expires, or even prior to their?
Absolutely, because that allows me to lock that player in before anybody else has a chance. Yeah, absolutely.
Business for the business. Yeah, you want these running backs to sign 4 or 5 years out of the gate. That because then you got
right. But what I'm saying, do you think that it's fair to the ownership that these guys go to them when they still have a year left and they say, "Look, I want an extension now. I want a new contract now."
I absolutely do.
You do?
I absolutely do, because the ownership could easily go to them and say, "I don't give a shit. You have to play on this fucking money," which they've done multiple times to people and force them to play all the way to free agency. So I absolutely think it's no problem, in my opinion, that if a player proves their worth, they should have every right to go to the ownership at any point in time in their contract and say, "I want more money." Right. Just like you would do if you were working your ass off at your job and you were kicking butt and you were working for a dipshit foreman. you would go and say, I think I should have that
But,
asshole
I
stop.
mean, Hendrickson actually made that public in his interview that they basically verbally told him that if he hit these numbers that he'd be getting his contract. He made that
Yeah,
known
and
in his last
most
interview.
agents, if they did the right thing, they would put that in a rookie's contract. Like for example, when Marshall Faulk came in the league with the Colts, part of his rookie deal was at any point in time, if he finished in the top 5, he automatically got a pay bump. And what happened was the final year of his contract, or the third year of his contract, he was in the top 5, and he fumbled his first snap at the last game of the season, lost yardage, and then he got benched. And he didn't get to the yardage marker that he needed to, and he got passed over. So he finished number 6 in the league instead of number 5. So the Colts said, well, you didn't finish in the top 5, so we're not renegotiating your contract. So he said, you know what? Fuck you.
Kind of like what Jerry did in Dallas by benching his backup quarterback, and he didn't get his bonus.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something that guys could put in a rookie contract is, hey, if they hit these milestones before their contract expires, they're automatically up for a pay bump. So, I mean, that's just stuff that the
But
owner,
nowadays, with the rookie contract situation the way it is, who knows how much leeway they have as far as verbiage like that being included. Back in the day with Marshall Faulk, they didn't have the rookie cap, so they could do whatever they wanted when it came to contract negotiations.
yeah.
Now they don't have that option as much as they used to. So, and I do have to defend myself. We got a bunch of guys in the chat right now, Kevin and Ethan specifically, talking about how Cook is the only elite player in our offense. And I mean, first and foremost, obviously we have the most elite player in every offense in football right now, and J.A. Evans. So, you can't sit here and say that the only elite player in the Bills offense is Cook. I mean, that's obvious. Come on. Now, as far as comparing Cook to Davis, I definitely think that it's closer than you're making it out to be. Cook is great. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's the guy that, you pay in the situation we're in the money that he wants to get paid and deserves to get paid. I'll say it that way. Deserves to get paid. He just deserves to get paid that money from a team that's in a different position than we're in. The team that we're in right now, the position we're in, we need to complement our quarterback, and we have a decent decent running complement already behind James Cook, in my opinion, with Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and potentially another rookie we'll pick up here in the next year. And then we turn around and we, in my opinion, grab that elite receiver that I think would make a big difference more than anything.
In all reality, the Bills are young. I mean, in all reality, all their positional players are all young.
I'm really mad about the fact that they don't do things like trade up for a guy like Brian Thomas when he drops in the draft. And those are the moves that drive me insane. Like I remember an Atlanta Falcons team that made a super crazy trade to go up and get Julio Jones in the top 6 when they had like a super hardcore set up core to be a good team, and everybody was shocked that they would give up what they gave up to go all the way up and get Julio. And I mean, that shit turned out great for them. Julio took them to a Super Bowl within a few years. So, I definitely feel like the Bills need to be making a move like that. That's where I get frustrated with the Bills, not so much as letting a guy like James Cook get paid somewhere else.
All right, I want to welcome in Brady D. Decker too. He popped in. Brady popped in the chat. So yeah, we got quite a bit of people in the chat, and anyone that new that came in. If you want to get into get into these mini games that we were talking about, please go to the ballsvilleGame.com. On the first page, scroll all the way down and hit the icon. Also like and subscribe to our podcast. We're at 195 subscribers. We need 5 more to get 200. We really like to get there. So anybody that hasn't subscribed yet, please do. It really helps us out a lot. Okay, one more quick NFL news before we get to our triathlon ADP. And Sean should be super happy about this. The tush push was not banned. 22 owners in the NFL wanted to ban it. My take
they needed 24.
My whole take on this is football is a very violent game. We love it because it's violent, and I think that the tush push is kind of a play that's pretty violent. So why take it out of the game? Just because you can't stop it, that's your fault. Just like the whole thing, when these coaches yell at each other about running up the score. Well, if you don't want me to run up the score with my backup players, then stop me. So I'm glad that it didn't get banned. I'm sure eventually it will get banned, but right now it won't. So players like Jalen Hurts, players like Josh Allen are super happy about it. And teams are just going to have to adapt. They're going to have to bring in players to maybe possibly fill that role, whether or not it's a tight end.
I don't even think it's so much as players. It's just a coaching technique. They just got to figure out the right coaching technique to counter the play. It happened. It's just like when they brought in that the Wildcat.
The Wildcat.
Remember how the Wildcat was such a big deal when it first came out, and like, oh my God, you're taking the quarterback and you're making him a running back, and now that means you have every blocker you need, and all they got to do is be one guy. Oh, what are we gonna do? They figured it out. It only took a couple seasons, but they figured it out. The same thing.
I'm not against the play per se. I am against assisting a runner or a ball carrier from another player.
You don't like the push in the ass? You don't like the actual
it
push
isn't
from the guy
necessarily
behind
even
him?
in the ass. I don't even like to see a lineman 5 yards downfield pushing a running back.
I fucking love that. I fucking love that, dude. I love seeing a running back crowd surf for 7 extra yards.
I don't like seeing, like, after a player has caught a ball, to see someone trying to assist him in gaining yards. I just don't. I really don't think they need a whole lot of pushing behind Hurts to begin with.
Let me ask you, Jimbo. It's like, so you're the running back, right? And you've got the ball, and you're running, and there's like 2 or 3 guys that are tackling you. Do you want the rest of your teammates just to kind of stand there next to you and just watch you get tackled?
No, I'm not against it because it is dangerous or could hurt somebody. That don't bother me. To me, I like to see a running back gain the yards on his own. I like to see a ball carrier.
But he can get tackled by more than one guy. So why shouldn't he be allowed to have a second guy help him out?
To me, that becomes rugby. You know what I'm saying? Which is fine.
Yeah.
I enjoy rugby too, but I'm just on the other side of it. The tush push don't bother me because it's not that big a deal. It's usually a short yardage play anyway, and you don't see a whole lot of.
Yeah, and it always works unless you're playing the Chiefs.
I don't like to see a player assisted for forward progress.
Okay, so here's let me step in real quick about this. So I go back and look, because I'm such a historian of the game. I look back before the forward pass. So before the forward pass, all you did was run. So you watch these real old games in black and white, and when they just ran the ball, and the running back would get the ball hiked to him, he would run into the line of scrimmage, and everyone would collapse in, and he would either get tackled or he would get pushed forward by his linemen. And you even look at Little League football where they don't even throw, where there's too small, they can't throw the ball. And all you see is these little kids with these huge helmets running into a line of scrimmage. And all of a sudden you just see the whole pile just moving forward and dropping. So to me, it's the same play except the tush push. You're just basically doing it on right there at the goal line. Now, I've seen the Eagles do it I've seen them do it when it was like 3rd and 2, on like the 40. They'll run up in because they can get 2 yards.
I've seen them do it at 3rd and 4.
Yeah,
well, it's an inertia thing. It's pounds.
So to me, it's still a football play because that if you look back in history, that's kind of what the tush push was back in history when they didn't throw the ball. The tush push was every play. So for them to want to ban it right now, all that tells me is other teams are crying about it because they can't stop it. So either
I don't think
the 22 votes. The 22 votes. I guarantee you, the 22 votes for teams that do not have a quarterback capable of running that play.
My point is, I'm not against the play, but I do lean towards the side of assisting a runner or someone for yardage.
But they used to have that as a rule. They used to have you're not allowed to push a player from behind like that. That used to be a thing, and they took that away for a good reason, in my opinion, because it became multiple times where it's like, how can you tell where they're pushing them? Because what they would do is instead of run up and push them like that, they would just run up and lean a shoulder into their back.
Yeah.
Now, see what the NFL is
push, that's all they did. It's the same damn thing. They just didn't do their hands.
Now, see what the NFL is going to do is a couple of years from now, it will get banned. And what they're going to say is we ban this play because of a potential injury. which it could be it could be more injuries in this play. Well, the NFL doesn't give a shit about injuries. They don't care about injuries. So it's going to get banned eventually, but as of right now, it's not. So my point
I think
is,
it's ridiculous that it's even considering being
yeah.
banned. In my opinion.
So
That drives me nuts.
Yeah, so it's just going to help.
The offense has enough plays that work in their favor. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Enough rules that work in their favor.
yeah, rules, I should say. Yeah.
So my point is, like, guys like Josh Allen, guys like Jalen Hurts. I mean, I was sitting in a draft, and I'm sitting in the 6th hole, and I'm like, okay, do I take this guy or this guy? Well, I mean, Jalen Hurts is sitting there. I mean, the tush push is not going to be banned, so he's probably going to score another 12, 13, 14 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts is an average quarterback without the tush push, fantasy-wise.
So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to get some rebuttal from you guys, so it's great. But yeah, the tush push is still alive for 2025. So we'll move on to our triathlon. Like I said, half our triathlon leagues are full. I think there's only one still drafting, and one more that's going to start this weekend. One is starting in July, and one's starting in August. That are from the first six that we had that were full. So Sean was nice enough to put some ADP together for you guys, and let's take a look at it, see where the ADP is now. With the triathlon, you're going to look at some of this ADP, and some of it might look a little weird, because of the way the triathlon is with the guillotine going from weeks 9 to 12. You want to try to make sure that you try to maybe avoid guys that are on the same bye weeks. Like, let's say you have, we only start 2 receivers. So, for example, you don't want 2 receivers, bye weeks being week 9, 10, or 11, because you got to find replacements. That's guillotine. You definitely don't want to lose your out. So there might be some players that go before other guys because of bye weeks. That's just we want to try to avoid those, as many guys on those guillotine bye weeks. So do you have the
yes, sir. Let's do this, and then we're gonna move ourselves into the 4 corners. Look at that. Look how perfect that is.
That's sweet.
This was done in literally about 30 seconds prior to the pod starting up, guys, just so you know. So the fact that the sizing worked out as well as it did was unintentional.
Awesome. So this is okay. How many players do you have here?
So this is the top 40. So I Casey Kasem it. I went with the top 40, and so that's where we're at here. So you're basically looking at like around 3.5 or so of players here. And I didn't have a lot of time to do much more than this. So I would have given you guys a little bit more information, but you're basically looking at your top Josh Allen down the list. And then I also have the actual list, which we can pull up later to look at the exact draft positions per league if you'd like to go over any players that maybe seem a little out of place. So if you go from the top down, you got Josh Allen down to Ladd McConkey. That's your one from run through. And then it would go up from Ladd McConkey to Bo Nix and then down from there. Okay,
so looks like your top 12 is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So St. Brown's number 12, right? That's what it looks like.
Yes.
Okay, so we got Mahomes just outside so Mahomes did not make it into the first round.
No, Mahomes did not.
He did not. Jimmy, what do you think about Mahomes not making it in the top 12 in a super flex?
I have been puzzled with the Mahomes thing. I think it's just his surrounding cast. I mean, I think with the fall off of Kelsey this year kind of scared a lot of people away, as far as Kelsey falling off points wise. They feel maybe it took away from him, away from Mahomes a little bit, as far as scoring touchdowns. And let's face it, the surprise of Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is a great quarterback. Do I think he can pull off the magician type stuff that Mahomes does? No, not really. But I like Bo Nix as much as I like Mahomes, as far as a quarterback that I would take in those same rounds. You know, I am surprised to see guys like Hertz going in front of him, but
In front of Nick. In front of Nick.
you know, it's you know, the fantasy has become so many different strategies now that I think is why you see the diversity in draft. You know, the difference of people drafting.
Got you. Now, Sean, what in the first round do you like? Okay, so the top three are pretty much as is. I've been seeing Chase go quite a bit. I've also seen Jefferson going over Chase because of the bye week. Because of the bye week for Cincinnati falls, I think, in week 10, which is guillotine week, where Jefferson's bye, I think, is week either 5 or 6. So I've seen that before.
So here's my thought on that. And then let me ask you about this real quick, because when you brought that up, I'd like to ask your quick opinion on this before you move too far forward. Do you like the idea of having your players bye week in the redraft portion or in the guillotine portion? You personally, what would you prefer?
Oh, I want my guys in the redraft portion because I'm going to make the guillotine no matter what. So I want my bye out of the way early. I want all my guys on, fired up for the guillotine. So yeah, I want to try to avoid, especially my star players. Like, I mean, the way I draft my quarterbacks, I don't mind having a quarterback in the guillotine because I know I'm going to have 2 other ones that aren't. So I can always replace them. But as far as like my running back or receiver, I'm trying not to grab one that's in a guillotine week. So what I did was I had a bunch of positions where I took I think a couple shares at Chase and a couple shares at Jefferson. So I took Jefferson, I think over Chase. I think it may be in 1 or 2 of them, but can't really remember. Just to try to diversify and not all have just all Chase.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so there's times I diversified because of the bye weeks.
See, and I'm leaning a little bit in the other direction, and I'll tell you why. The reason that I am is because I'm looking at it like in the guillotine weeks, I should be able to replace that player with the guillotine waiver wires, right? So if I'm looking at like week 10, right, for Jamar Chase, for example, I'm going to have week 9 where I'm going to say, okay, if I really need to, if I wasn't able to draft well enough and deep enough to have my receiver position covered, for my guillotine, I'm going to make sure that I spend the money that I need to get that top receiver, 1, 2, or 3 top receivers on this draft or on this waiver wire that week, because each of us are going to have a full squad available by the end of that guillotine week, right? So week 10, you're going to have one week to do it. If it's a week 12 guillotine week, then that's even better because now you're looking at 3 full weeks of preparation to be able to replace that roster spot for that final week when the bye week shows up. And then you don't have to lose any of your bye weeks during your redraft, and you can get that top 1 or 2 seeds and win that money.
It is going to be interesting to see how people manage the fab, because that's really going to be interesting.
Yeah. And for me, I'd rather replace my guys. I'd rather have to replace them in the guillotine because I have the opportunity on the waiver wire to do so. Whereas in the redraft, because I'm looking at redraft being that it gets paid the top 2 seeds. That's a full season right there. That's like its own game right there all on its own. So I want to win that. I don't want to lose out on my guys, especially my entire roster, everybody having a bye week prior to week 9. That almost eliminates me from contention at the 1-2 seed.
Sean, we got to because I was talking to Alex. Is it the 1 and 2 seeds get a payday, or is it just the number 1 seed?
I thought it was the 1 and 2. We'll have to go double check that again.
I thought it was the 1 and 2. I thought it was the 1 and 2. Alex said the number 1. It was just the number 1, but we have to go back and look.
We have to go double check. But yeah, I thought when we initially set it up, I thought we had it set up for the 1 and 2. But like I said, I mean, we've made some changes, and I've had so many things going on outside of this that I don't really know 100%.
Yeah, whatever's in the rule book, I thought it was 1 and 2, but it might be 1. But to answer the question that Ethan said in chat, it would be if it was 1 and 2. If it is 1 and 2, it's the same amount of money. It's $30. So You get $30.
Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't have the chat going because I was looking at the other screen real quick, but so I missed that question.
Yeah, we'll let Chris look. Chris, could you look for us? Since Chris is our
Yeah, our auditor.
Proofreader.
He's our tax auditor.
Yeah, that's funny. But so looking at this, I'm trying to see. Does anyone stick out to you that like maybe it's too high, too low? Like I said, sometimes it this could be drafted off of bye weeks and stuff, but
it's amazing. It's amazing to see the Christian McCaffrey apprehension is still there.
I can tell you, I got a guy that sticks out like crazy, but I'm going to let Jimbo finish up the CMC.
Yeah, the Christian McCaffrey thing is kind of mind-boggling. It's just, I think so many people got pimped last year that they are just scared to death of the guy, because you would never in your right mind see him going like that, especially in this kind of league.
What about you? Who's the guy, Sean?
For me, yeah. It's the good old B2. B to the B squared, baby. Brock Bowers dropping that far down, in my opinion, is ridiculous. That guy. So let's talk about Travis Kelce, for example, right? I know that TEP is becoming real popular, and a lot of people now look at tight ends no matter what. If it's not a TEP, they just don't consider them to be draft worthy. But look at Travis Kelce. The man was a first round pick in a lot of redraft leagues for a good 3-4 years in a row there, at least. And a guy like Brock Bowers is right up in that level, if not higher than where Kelce was in his heyday, because he really is the top target in that offense by far. So to me, Brock Bowers is a receiver in your tight end position in a year where we only have 2 tight ends that are really considered like top tier tight ends. I would take a guy like Brock Bowers in a heartbeat in the, at latest mid-second round. I've seen him drop down to the 3rd round in a couple of these. I think the one that you're in right now, Scott, if I'm not mistaken, in the Mars League, he dropped to the mid-3rd round, like 3-4.
Yeah, Alex got me.
Yeah, Alex got him.
I was so bad.
I think his ceiling is even higher this year with
exactly. That's what I'm just about to say.
With the quarterback he has now,
compared to last year, it's light years better. Not to say that Geno's amazing, but it's light years better than where he was.
Yeah, I think his ceiling. I think Bowers will have a better year than he did even last year.
All right, so our statistician,
our auditor,
Cussons, said the top 2 seeds are in fact paid. So, for all you guys out there, the top 2 seeds after the redraft portion, you get your automatically $30 back. So you're pretty much free rolling the rest of the year, and your number one and number 2 seed, no matter what you do in the guillotine portion, you will be the number 1 or number 2 seed in the bracket best ball stage. So
I might get my own teleprompter with Chris on my own teleprompter, so he can.
So it is very important. It is very important to get them one of those top 2 seeds. So you get some money, and then like I said, you make it. If you do make it to the bracket round, you're the number 1 or 2 seed, and you play the worst seed. So very, very important there. Now, one guy that kind of sticks out to me a little bit.
Please tell me you're going to say the guy that I think you're going to say.
Actually, there's kind of like 2. So I'm going to do one's a running back and one's a receiver. So the running back is I'm still not. I don't know if I'm putting Ashton Genty that high. I don't think I'm putting Ashton Genty that high. And then Garrett Wilson, I don't understand why he's going that low. I mean, I know people are going to say quarterback issue, but he should be going ahead of Marvin Harrison. He should be going ahead of Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he should be going ahead of A.J. Brown. I really like Garrett Wilson a lot. I mean, he had shit for quarterback play last year, pretty much the corpse of Aaron Rodgers, and he still put up some pretty nice stats. So I think he's going to have a good year. I know Justin Fields isn't the greatest quarterback, but there's nobody else there at receiver.
But they have a lot of rapport from their college days too, though. So, Justin might be more prone to flinging the ball a little more towards Garrett than he was with some of these other guys.
Yeah, and Ethan, he is the better receiver over Jay. He is. I mean, it's to me, I'm not going to say it's not close, but I mean, gun to my head, who's going to have
a better receiver? JSN is in the better situation, though. That might change the overall fantasy point outcome. right? Like for redraft at least.
I mean, it could. I mean, yeah. I mean, we don't even know if Sam Darnold's going to be the same quarterback he was.
So Scott, if you're on the clock, you're definitely taking receiver. JSN and Wilson are your top 2 on the board. Which one do you take?
I'm taking Garrett Wilson.
Okay, let me ask you this question, Scott. Okay, are you taking Garrett Wilson based on, and I know you hate Aaron Rodgers, but are you taking Garrett Wilson based off his quarterback play or just his ability?
I'm taking it on his ability and volume.
Okay, now, all right, because I'm a big volume guy too. In fact, I took Garrett Wilson in this draft that we're on right now, the one that's drafting tonight, that I'm still picking. But see that because I am a big volume guy. So that just like, okay, let's use a running back, for example. To me, to answer your Jenny program question, why he's going so high, it's the same reason that you just said Garrett Wilson, because who else is there to run the ball? I mean, okay, Mostert's there, but the guy's old and injury prone and was a workhorse at one time. I don't think he's taking carries away from Jenny. But, the same, like Taylor. Taylor is a volume back. I don't understand why some of these rookie running backs are going as high as they are. I think people are having high hopes for some of them. I think, and I'll use one for example. I think he's an awesome running back, the one in New England. I think Henderson's an awesome running back. I don't think he's going to take the majority of the carries.
I mean, I just feel that Genty's a rookie coming in, and rookies are going to hit this wall. He's not going to get 300 carries. He'll be dead.
Not in the NFL, no.
Right. Well, he plays in the NFL. So
well,
I mean,
no, but I'm saying if you're comparing it to what he did in college, yes, I agree to that. But he's still going to have the volume to be drafted where he's getting drafted.
I don't know. I mean, I think I'd rather have
McCaffrey. See, that's what I'm saying. McCaffrey's in the same position. Who else is there to run the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have Derrick Henry.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't say he's like. I'm not saying that he's always way, way up the draft board. Like, I just think that it's a little too high for him, especially over other players. Like, I mean, Ashton Genty or, Bo Nix.
Oh, Bo Nix.
Right. So, I mean, I just think in this scenario, he's getting drafted over some good quarter. I mean, Brock Bowers. He's going over Brock Bowers.
Right. But see, I think the ADPs, just like I was saying earlier, I'm glad we have this ADP to use for the triathlons because everybody's drafting different in these triathlon leagues than they would in a regular redraft. So I'm glad we're using this, but yet in that same token, I think just because I draft this way in this triathlon, I'm not drafting the same in the next one, me personally. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking different players purposely. Yeah. So it's going to skew the ADP than if I would, it was a straight redraft.
Right. Sean,
I pretty much draft more consistent is what I'm saying.
Right. Right.
But I'm taking different players in different leagues purposely.
Right. No, I get it. And that's what I said before. I said we want to diversify our teams. We don't want to have all the same players. Sean, what's your take on Genty?
I think Janty's got the potential to be top 3 in the league this year in fantasy points, the way that his position is and where he was drafted, Pete Carroll as his coach, the way that they're ready to, basically hand him the rock on a regular basis. I think Janty has that high-end potential this year for sure. I don't know if I would risk that high of a pick. Like, for example, I'm not taking him over Derrick Henry in a redraft right now. Just because I think that Derrick Henry has the potential to be, right up there, and Derrick Henry's proven that he can do it over and over again. So I'm taking Derrick Henry over Janty. Now it'll be like a close call. I think, for example, on one of the leagues just recently, I took both Derrick Henry and Janty in the league, and I can't remember which one I took first or second, but it was there was only 4 picks between my 2 picks. So I took one, and then the turn, one pick at the turn, and then one pick, so 4 players, and then I took the other. So they were that close within, 5 picks of each other for me to take them both and be happy with it. So I wouldn't hate either decision, but like that's kind of where I have him. And Derrick Henry to me is in the top 5, so I very easily could see him peaking in the top 3.
I got a question for you, Sean.
Go for it.
What is your feeling of why C.J. Stroud has dropped off as much as he has in drafts?
I think people are freaked out by the situation that happened last year and the fact that they really didn't do a ton to improve that offensive line. So for me, I think that is just kind of a scare factor in it. And, maybe he peaked his rookie season and he settles into a slightly lower level, which puts him around like a Kirk Cousins ceiling for the rest of his career. And nobody wants to draft a Kirk Cousins as early as he's going.
Do you think he's a better quarterback than Herbert?
No.
Okay.
And I love C.J. Stroud, but
So do I.
But I like Justin Herbert better.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Justin Herbert better. I mean, I think Stroud's going to have a better year. I agree with Sean 100%. He came into the league like a firecracker, so everyone expects him the next year to either be better, and it doesn't always work out like that. He may be, he may not, his ceiling might not be top 3 quarterback, but his ceiling could be top 5 or 6. He just had a down year because his first year was so great. So did they improve the offensive line? Not really, but they did bring in some more weapons for him. They still have
they also brought in a solid running back and showed that they're willing to switch gears to more of a running offense if they need to, and if they have the running back for it. Right. So like that scares me a little bit too, because they knew what they had in CJ Stroud and they still went out and signed Joe Mixon and shifted their offense towards more of a rushing with complemented by passing versus the other way around like it was the year before. So if that's the way that they're going to go as a coaching staff, being such a young and new coaching staff, we really don't know for sure what their direction is going to be and how they're ultimately going to settle.
Well, he's got a new offensive coordinator this year, so we'll see.
So, yeah, but it's still, you still got a head coach that, it's going to be kind of, this is my style, right? Like Jim Harbaugh, right? That's a great example. He's not an offensive coach, but he's always got an offensive style that makes sure that the offensive coordinator is in tune with. So that's kind of what I could see happening potentially with Stroud, if that's the direction that DeMeco Ryans is planning on going. Because, Stroud showed that he was amazing, and then they went out and paid money for a guy like Joe Mixon, which, kind of says like, hey, I appreciate what you can do, but we don't really need you to do it. That's not what we're looking for.
Got you. Yep. That's for sure. So I want to welcome in the Rook 10. The Rook 10's in chat. Welcome in, Rook. I see there you got 3 running backs in the first round. They're all clustered together. You got Bijan, which I think, in my opinion, is going to be this year's Infinity Stone. You got Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon. Jimmy, do you like that order, or is there?
No, I'm not a great big BJ fan. I just not. I heard Chubb might be going there. I don't think it affects anything because Algier gets just as, he's a good running back too. But I think maybe I'm not a big BJ fan because of Algier taking carries from him, especially in the red zone. But I don't like the order there. I would probably take Barkley ahead of both of those.
Sean, what about you?
I don't mind the order 100%. And redraft, I think I take Barkley over Gibbs only because I think that Barkley's target share aspect versus Gibbs' target share aspect is slightly better. So I would lean Barkley over Gibbs, but it's close enough to where I wouldn't hate you if you went the other direction.
So you're saying
Montgomery?
So what you're saying, Sean, is if Montgomery wasn't in the shadows with Gibbs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would take Gibbs over Barkley if Montgomery wasn't there. 100%.
Okay.
Just because I think Gibbs has more explosivity right now in an offense that is like geared more towards explosive plays. Whereas Barkley made his own explosive plays behind a solid team last year where, not to say that it's going to be a lot different, but I don't know 100% if he's going to be able to do the same thing twice in a row. That's rare.
Yeah, I always look at like what run. I mean, most running backs when they finish number one, they usually don't finish number one the next year. It just seems like it always happens that way. I mean, I think if I remember, like Tomlinson was the last one. I think that maybe that I can remember that went back to back, like number one overall. Maybe someone can help me out if it was somebody else. But I mean, I think Barkley can do it. The team is so good. But like I said, I really like Bijan. I think he's going to have a monster year. I mean, he just didn't. He had a great year last year. I don't think really no one's really talking.
Even with Penix being a running quarterback,
he's not running.
He's not even close to a running quarterback.
Yeah, they don't want him running the ball. His knees are shot. He's not running. He's back there to throw the ball. And Bijan's gonna, he catches a lot of balls out of the backfield. I think Algiers just, we're not talking about Artie Smith anymore. It's a different offense. And Bijan's primed to have a monster year. I think the Falcons are gonna, in my opinion, even though I love the Bucs, I think the Falcons are gonna win that division. So I look for a big year out of Bijan. But I think it's really close. But I would just take Bijan, then Barkley, then Gibbs, and the reason why I got Gibbs third is because the Montgomery factor is still there. So and Dan Campbell loves Montgomery. So it might not be it might be closer to like a 70-30 split instead of a 60-40 split like last year, or 50-50. It might be closer to 70-30, 80-20. Depending on what game script is. If they're behind, they're going to use Gibbs.
Yeah, 65-35 at most. I think he likes Monty too much to go set full 70-30.
Yeah, and I think it depends on game script too. If they're ahead and they want to bleed the clock, they're just
something else that jumps out on here to me, Sean. Here's one for you. Do you feel that this Brian Thomas being drafted where he's been drafted pretty much throughout the year, do you think that the Hunter thing changes that?
I mean, to me, I think he's just being overdrafted a little bit. And, unless you're talking dynasty formats in this specific scenario, I don't think a guy like BTJ should be going over a Nico Collins. I don't think he should be going over, I'll even say like a Lad McConkey, just because I feel like there really isn't much else that they could target. I think I'm sorry. I think he's going to come in and he's going to make Brian Thomas share the load a little bit, which is good for, overall football. But for fantasy aspects of it, I don't think Brian should be as high as he's going. Status.
So in an instance like this, then, are you saying Brian Thomas is getting drafted higher than an A.J. Brown based on that the Jags have to throw the football and can't run it versus AJ being?
See, I mean, we're counting that on. Everybody's thinking about that and the fact that they had that team prior. I mean, the offensive coordinator that they got coming in right now has been known to not only keep one but two backs relevant in fantasy. So, I'm not thinking that they're going to come in and have just like a absolutely no running game style of offense at all. I think it's going to be better running than they've had in the past, which means they won't need to lean on that passing as much. And part of that better running is going to be Hunter coming in there with his end arounds, and his screen passes and things like that. So, to me, I think Brian is a great player, and I think Brian deserves to be drafted close to where Neighbors is going. I think for redraft, it's not the case. For redraft,
so you're taking him ahead of AJ Brown. You're taking him ahead.
I'm taking him over AJ Brown, yes, but that's because I don't think that AJ Brown should be, considered in the same tier at this point. I think AJ Brown's a tier behind him. Okay. I wouldn't want to take him over. Like I said, I would take like a Lad McConkey because I think the share, the target share is going to be better for him. I would even consider Nico Collins for sure. I'd take over him. I'd consider maybe thinking about a Drake London depending on the situation. As far as like what the rest of my team is looking like and bye week and that kind of jazz. But like that's kind of I think where I would have him though is like just above like that Drake London, right below Lad, above Drake.
Yeah, I haven't been in a position yet to acquire Brian Thomas Jr. from where I was, where I'm drafting, because it looks like you need to draft you need to be like in the 6, 7, 8, 9 hole to even get him in the second round. And actually I have a draft on Saturday triathlon where I'm the ninth hole. So
Yeah, finally I get to move up to the 2-hole.
yeah, so I'm thinking I might be able to get him. I agree with Sean though. I'm not taking him over Nico Collins, but if he's going to get the Mike Evans role in this offense, I mean, wheels up for Brian Thomas Jr. So I'm taking him over Ladd McConkey. I'm not taking him over Nico, but I'll take him over Drake London. And yeah, so I think he's, even though Sean said he might be a little overdrafted. I mean, I don't see it too much overdrafted. Just I would swap.
So basically, back to my original part of the question, Hunter's presence doesn't change your idea of drafting Brian Thomas.
No, because I think they're going to use Hunter it's going to be like the Godwin role, or where he's like out of the slot, and like he's going to be in a different. He's going to be used differently than in that offense. So Brian Thomas is penciled into the X receiver role, which is Mike Evans, and Mike Evans, had 1,000 yards at age 29, and Brian Thomas, 8 years younger, so and way faster. So he's going to have a lot of one-on-one coverage because, if Hunter's on the field, they're going to have Hunter in motion. They're going to have movement around. You're going to have to acquire for him. So there's going to be a lot of times where, Thomas Jr. is going to be on single coverage, and he's got the speed and the route running ability to blow past those defenders. So, but you know what though? It's a big year for Trevor Lawrence. This is the year he better do it, because if he doesn't do it this year, they're moving on. So
I mean, that's a guy to talk about, man. Trevor Lawrence. He's one that
I'm investing in him. I'm going to invest him in. I love him. I love getting him as my third quarterback because I'm a quarterback guy. So I like getting him as my third quarterback because if he pops off this year, then he could be a real nice trade asset when I don't need him anymore after the guillotine leagues or guillotine format. I can trade him off to somebody that needs quarterback, or keep him and trade my other quarterback. So yeah, I'm investing on him. Are you guys investing in NTL3?
Yes. So I'll tell you, I took him. Now this is the best ball, but I took him over Justin Fields, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, and JJ McCarthy just recently. So would you take any of those guys over him currently, Scott?
Which guys again? I missed it.
Justin Fields, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, and JJ McCarthy. Those were the next four off the board.
No, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, me too.
What about you, Jimmy?
I kind of like what I got high hopes for him with Liam Cohen being over there too now. I got in a best ball league, I got every single Jag. I'm looking forward to the stacks on that. So yeah.
So
hey, look at Ethan over here, by the way, talking about everybody drafted mediocre quarterbacks over top 20 positional players. That Scott and you can have a discussion about that off the pod, because that's going to be a lengthy one.
What did Ethan say? He doesn't reach.
He doesn't reach, huh? He doesn't reach.
Yeah, he's going to be reaching for the fantasy payouts to everybody else.
Well, after I wouldn't trade with him in that other league, he wanted me to give him Mayfield for peanuts, and he.
It always cracks me up when people do that. When they don't draft, and they're all like, "I'm just going to draft positions," and then they try to trade. They're like,
quarterback in the triathlon, and then after he had the reach comment with Scotty in a different league. I see he went back to the league that I wouldn't trade him in and drafted Flacco and got rid of McMillan.
I mean, you can still put together a good team if you go quarterback heavy early, and I think it's a huge mistake if you leave the first 5 rounds of your draft without 2 quarterbacks. It just
would you go into these triathlons, Sean, with 1 quarterback?
No, I would try to. I've been trying to get 3 quarterbacks minimum in each league, like currently starting. Anthony Richardson doesn't count as that, in my opinion, like a currently starting quarterback.
I think you can do it with 2. I think you can do it with 2 based on if you got your buys covered right, and you got 2 solid quarterbacks that aren't wimpy, that are going to sit down over a twisted wrist or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 2 quarterbacks, your bye weeks are 10 and 12. In the guillotine weeks, yeah, because week 9 you could spend your money on your quarterback. Then
right,
whatever.
Yeah. I think you can do it with 2. I think you can do it with 2 in the
You know?
in the redraft portion, but I
Yeah.
don't think you can make it.
Yeah, no, like yeah. So if and I agree 100%. If you want to go, if let's say I got jammed up, okay, and I went crazy. Let's say I was just in a draft and I got jammed up, okay, and quarterbacks went super early and I couldn't get them, okay. I agree with Ethan. I'm not gonna like super reach for a guy, okay, but I'll try to at least get a couple quarterbacks where their buys are in the first 9 weeks. That way, I just get them out of the way. It's during the redraft. It's not going to hurt me that much because I'm going to make it to the guillotine and hope I can get a quarterback in the guillotine. If I can survive it, I don't get knocked out. So it's not the end all be all. I'm just saying, and Sean knows this because Sean's been in a million drafts with me. I sleep better at night that I have my quarterback room put together nicely.
The big thing that scares me is injuries. I mean, we got to go all the way to week 9.
Yeah.
And I think it's a whole lot of wishful thinking that somebody ain't going to get hurt.
Well, especially if you're looking at somebody who drafted like, one quarterback and then they have like a backup, like a Daniel Jones as their second guy. You know, like Daniel Jones could easily not play, and then your one quarterback could go down week 2 and you're screwed.
Yeah. Injuries are what scares me the most out of all of it.
And I just want to be able to have, because if you have one of them top flight quarterbacks, and let's say you only draft 2 quarterbacks, which would terrify me if that's all I had with 2 quarterbacks on the team. If I got Josh Allen and let's say Justin Herbert and I don't draft anybody else, and Herbert goes down for the year, now everybody in the league knows I'm targeting the backup quarterback, so I could get outbid, not get him, and then my season's freaking over. I don't care what you say, it's over. So I don't want to be in a situation like that. I can always pick up a WR2, an RB2 on the waiver wire. I don't have to fill up those positions. My flex position, I can get somebody on waivers that comes out of nowhere, spend a little money and get somebody. Yeah. But you can't spend money on good quarterbacks.
I've been in a lot of leagues in my time, and I'll tell you what, I'm so excited about these triathlon leagues. I just am.
They're going to be fun. They're going to be super fun.
It's going to be a blast. Even if you get knocked out, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, you're going to
be fun. It's going to be fun to grab a hold of somebody and root for them. You know what I mean? It's like, jumping on somebody else's train after you get knocked out. It's going to be a blast. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, and sorry for Custon's exactly right. Your lead quarterback goes down, you're going to spend half your fab getting a horrible backup. So, and like I said before, these triathlon leagues, I guarantee you're going to be following your triathlon leagues more than any other leagues.
Yeah, I'm excited.
There's so much that's going to be going on, especially when you get to those guillotine, part where it's going to be super, super interesting. Trying to figure out, how much money to spend on a guy, that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Can't wait.
I know I was only going to do 6, but now I'm like,
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, any of you guys that aren't in the triathlons yet or want to get in more, we're filling them up again. We did say if somebody gets in or whoever gets, or if multiple people get in all of them, we'll have a little prize for you. And then we're thinking of putting something else together.
They're going to be excited if we do that
for some more free entries down the road. But we'll save that till round number till God till the 4 God the last set of gods come out for that. So, all right. Well, this wraps up our ADP talk for triathlon. We are going to get into a Ballsville trade that is in the making right now. It is between Jimbo and myself, and we've been going back and forth on this. It's not like super crazy. It's just a couple quarterbacks. So,
and not even big quarterbacks.
No, they're just a couple rooks. And so this was we've been going back and forth, and this was the latest offer that Jimmy sent me. I think it's too much to give up for a quarterback. I'd be happy just keeping Bryce Young, but I'd be willing to give Jimmy either a 2026 third and Bryce
Don't
Young.
Give him no ideas. Let him
Why not? I'm just telling you what my counter would be.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
2026 third and for Bryce Young and Bryce Young for McCarthy, or I would give him Young and Horton for a McCarthy. Now he countered with he wanted both those, and I'm like, I don't know. We have to go to the. I think it's too much, but we're gonna go to you guys in chat, and I want you guys in chat to let us know who's getting the better side of the deal. If it's a fair deal, should I hit accept? Should I hit decline? Should I counter?
Everybody's probably even wondering why I want to give up McCarthy for Young, but it's because of my roster. But anyway.
So, I mean, I like Young. I mean, I wasn't crazy about him coming into the league, but, you know, being a Michigan guy, I'd like to get McCarthy. So I'd be willing to give up a little extra to get him, but I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. So we got
Trader Clem on the panel. What's your opinion, Trader Clem?
I'm taking the JJ McCarthy side, and I'm happy as hell. I'm going to go cheers myself for getting that deal.
There you go. I figured.
Getting that deal for who?
He thinks that.
I like the JJ side. I think you're getting a quarterback who is sitting on my face cousin's team, who we all knows how to coach up quarterbacks. With Justin Jefferson, with TJ Hawkins.
Two great receiver, great tight end, great receiving running back.
God, so I got Sean saying yes. I got sorry for cussing saying that's a bad deal. McCarthy by a mile. Fran says accept. Let's see. All right, then that's it.
Yeah, give them away.
JJ.
Everybody is basically, Scott, there's not a single person that has not said take that deal.
See?
Wow.
I told you were screwing me again.
Yeah, it's so much better than the types of deals that Jimbo tries to get off me. I can't believe it. I'm a little frustrated, to be honest with you.
And actually, I started off wanting a second in Horton, but he wouldn't do the second.
I mean, what does Horton do for you, really, Scott?
Well,
I mean, other than tickle your butthole from time to time, he's really not giving you much.
I like Horton.
I like Horton too, but he wouldn't give up Williams. I knew that. And I like Horton. I followed his career in DV League for a while at Colorado State, and he's actually a good receiver. He gets hurt quite frequently, but and I just think where he's going, after the Cup thing's over, the Cup experiment's over, Horton will definitely be the number 2, if not the number 2 right away.
All right. Well, you know what? I still think it's a little much, but you know what? I'm a JJ guy. He's played at Michigan. So, and I promised I'd go with the panel one way or the other. So I'm just going to let everybody know I'm going right here to my phone, and I am going to hit this big old green button that says accept. It says, "Are you sure?" Accept. So it is accepted.
Uh-oh, I just got a notification.
So
I mean, honestly, Scott, we've talked about this so many times. You're gonna let a third rounder stop you? Like if it was just Young and Horton for JJ.
Now let me just go ahead. Let me just give you guys this side of things, okay? I got a lot of shares of JJ McCarthy. I don't have a whole lot of Bryce Young. I'm not a great big Bryce Young fan. However, he kind of saved me in a few leagues here and there. The reason I took Young in this particular league is I already am okay quarterback-wise. I don't really need McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy is 100% healthy. He's unproven. Okay. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh says he's the best thing since sliced bread. I get it. But I have T-Mac, I got Coker, and I also have Sanders, tight end. So it kind of gives me some nice stacks. Of course, everybody knows I like stacks. And so, yeah, I'm okay with it. Plus, I get me a nice little third-round pick in next year's draft. Yeah, I'll take it.
I just don't understand how you're willing to do deals like this and then do what you do to me when we try to make trades.
I don't know.
He'll tell you I didn't want the third. I was pretty stuck on the second round pick with this trade, but once we got to talking in the prep for tonight's pod, I said, I had something fun. Let's do it. I said, let's let the chat group decide. It'd be fun to do one online. What the hell?
And I don't really trade that much. I'm not a big trader. So, but
Stop. Just stop,
And
man.
then
Come on.
we thought it would be fun to bring the chat in. Plus, Sean was off last week, didn't have time to do his prep and get us a trade, so we decided we'd make that
all right.
one.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens in the future. But like I said, I'm happy to get JJ McCarthy.
Good.
I've always been a JJ fan. He's JJ to JJ. For a lot of years to come. He's with the quarterback whisper at coach. So, but I do like Bryce Young though. I think that he's got Tet, and actually I saw a video today where he was just targeting the hell out of Tet in OTAs. So they were connecting pretty good. And actually, I do like Horton a little bit. I mean, he was going to Seattle, and we'll see what he does. Maybe he can crack that third wide receiver spot there. So,
yep.
Look at Sean. Sean's just like, what the hell? Trader Clem. Trader Clem.
He's just jealous he didn't get to do a trade with the chat.
Trade with the chat. So
maybe we'll start doing that often.
I don't know.
We'll get two guys on that have been trying to negotiate a chat, and if they can't get it done, come on the pod, and we'll just let the chat decide.
Yep.
What are we going to be, like mediators now? Like, is this divorce?
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Fantasy divorce court? Like...
We'll have our own trade calculator. The chat.
There you go. And I want to mention you guys too in the chat. We're always looking for new talent here on the Ballsville podcast. So anybody that thinks they'd like to come on and show their face, you guys always pick on us in the chat there. So why don't you guys hop on here so we can finally see you guys face to face and get you guys on the pod. We'll be easy. We'll break you guys in really slow and make you feel comfortable, and we won't make an ass out of you guys on the podcast.
No, you know how they do it, guys, is they make an ass out of you before you go on the pod. They get you a nice track record of making fun of you, and then when they get you on the pod, then it's easy. They don't make
that was only with you, Jimbo, because you in that draft and you gave us all that ammo.
Yeah.
They used to make fun of Zoobs. I don't know.
So anybody that wants to come on, I mean,
we can't make fun of Zoobs. He's gonna sick his eagle on us.
Yeah, we got Chris out there. Sorry for cussing. We've already had Ethan on. I mean, we're looking for more talent on here. So you guys want to come on and talk some ball with us? Come on. All you got to do.
It is a good time. It is.
Get a hold of me. Run the Hurry Up on Sleeper. Throw me a DM. Say you're interested in coming on. We'll do a little chat before, and we'll break you guys in real good. And so we're always looking for talent on here. Like we said, we always say the Ballsville podcast is built for you guys. It's for our community, and we like interacting with you guys. So anybody that wants to get on, just go ahead and DM me, DM Alex, DM Trader Clem, and we'll get you guys on. So that wraps up our show for this week. Before I let you guys go, remember to go ahead and like and subscribe to the podcast. Please go to theballsvillegame.com for your fantasy needs. Alex does a great job updating that website. Also, if you want to get in that mini game, the horse race, go to the website, scroll down, hit the icon, get yourself in there, and that should be a lot of fun trying to predict those top 12 rushers for the year, or for at least for the first 4 weeks. And then also get into those big games. We got Division 5 opening up this weekend. We already have the next 3 gods of the triathlon that are already launched, ready to go. So get in there and get your spot. You never know. You might be on the we might be drawing on the pod for your draft position. So until next week, folks, for my co-host Trader Clem, for my fellow Floridian Jimbo down in Florida, I am Run the Hurry Up, Scott Fitzgerald. And until next week, folks, we are out.